AO originally voted to leave in the referendum but now wants to stay in the EU. Hello to you, AO.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. So do you think you're likely to vote for one of the new parties in the European elections?
I potentially could vote for one of the new parties in the European elections. My main thing is I do not want the Brexit party or one of these sort of, extreme right parties gaining basically support, and if they do basically become the winners of that election, sort of number one, the implications politically, in the media, everywhere will be quite a lot. Personally, I've voted in sort of every single general election since I've been able to vote, but I've never really voted in European elections. And I think part of that reason is because I didn't really understand the EU, and and not understanding the EU has also made me vote to leave the EU. But in the last 2-3 years, I've learned a lot more about how it works, and I think it was a disastrous thing for me to do, and I think it's a disaster for basically the country. And the last caller you had on just now, who was saying that he would vote for Labour, I'm glad that he's voting for Labour, because he's not voting for, one of these sort of, I will call them far right parties. I know some people will sort of dispute that, but I will call them that. I'm glad that he's voting for a mainstream party, but I don't really understand his reason for voting for Labour, because he's saying that he wants Brexit to happen. I don't think I can vote for Labour, even though in the past I have. And the main reason why I can't vote for Labour is simply because they are very wishy-washy about their Brexit policy. They are very, very wishy-washy about that.
So if that's the case, if you want a political party that is very clearly in favour of remaining, in favour of a second referendum, then you've got a choice, surely, of three. You've got a choice of the Green Party, the Liberal Democrats, or this new party, Change UK. So which of those three parties do you think you're likely to vote for?
I think I'm actually likely to vote for the new Change UK party. And the reason why is I actually think that party, at the moment, the composition of that, and they are a recognised party now, is basically you've got some people from the Tories, you've got some people from Labour, a few other of the little parties. And basically, I think it will provide a balance in terms of sensible politics, essentially. I think in the last 2-3 years, we've moved so far to sort of the right. I think Theresa May has let the right wing part of her party basically control the whole narrative. There was absolutely nothing in the referendum that said that we had to leave the customs union, that we had to, leave the single market. She stood up and drew these red lines right at the beginning of these negotiations, which she really didn't have to do. Now she and the Conservative Party, they have to own Brexit. I think Jeremy Corbyn going into talks with Theresa May, if he basically becomes the midwife for Brexit by bypassing the people and not letting us have another vote on something that essentially was not defined at the time. You have clearly read out what was on the official Leave manifesto, and promises, which they said that we would leave a deal. No one. Well,
they said we wouldn't even begin the process to leave until we'd already negotiated a deal.
Exactly. No one in this country voted for a WTO Brexit. I mean, one of the reasons, which I haven't...
Some people may argue that they did.
Well, the thing is, some people may argue that they did.
Some people may say, well, they didn't actually bother reading the Leave campaign manifesto. They just voted to leave. They just wanted to leave completely on, without any kind of deal whatsoever.
Well, that is a fair point, but 17.4 million people voted, including me, to leave, and to try to pretend that we all voted for the same reason at the same time is absolutely ridiculous. There's no way that you can undermine democracy with more democracy. That's the way I see it. If we have another vote, we will be voting on a concrete plan to leave the EU versus remaining in the EU. Me personally, I feel in these new EU the turnout should be higher than ever before. I don't know if it will be or not, and I know the polling is not really indicating that it will be, but people like me who have never voted before sort of in EU elections will definitely be coming out to make my voice basically clear, and I will be voting for the most Euro party, the party that will basically go into Europe. Europe's not perfect, but we shouldn't be leaving it. We should be staying there. We should be using our stature. We should be leading and changing the things that we think that are not. We should be using our influence like that.
Okay. All right. Really good talking to you. Thank you, AO.